Come, let us explore this Dusk's meditation class and group practice that we too could meditate like a Jedi. This evening's opening lesson is based upon the 46th passage of the meditation classic Unwaning Victory Banner, composed so many centuries ago by the great Buddhist reformer Vajra of the Swat Valley. Together let us relaxingly recite. In the field of understanding lays great bliss, as the pure dimension of the world. When the light of the cardinal directions gathers, the four main directions, the intermediate ones above and below, are perfected. Now, this is only really going to make sense within the context of the essential teachings. So let's explore that briefly right now. So I'm going to hit this button, and now hopefully I'm going to take us to the set of visual aids. And by the way, the set of visual aids and this teaching text are both available for free download. So let's see how quickly I can get through this. And if you have any questions, don't be shy. So here we go. Whether the Buddha was real or merely archetypical, he was known as being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. His foolish cousin was pretty much the opposite. He might be a real person, he might be the personification of Yang's religious or irreligious patriarchy, but his foolish cousin was rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, and the poster boy for just being sucky, but not in the fun, tingly way. So Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, so most of us, including myself, were raised to be this way. And most people are this way, and most meditation teachers are this way. In fact, they think it's pretty awesome. And so these guys strut about the countryside insisting that we're supposed to focus and analyze, specifically actively focus and overanalyze. Now, yes, it is the medial and dorsolateral regions of our prefrontal cortex that enable this, but we evolved to make use of those features intermittently, sparingly. And when we overuse them, we begin presenting with symptoms of depression and triggering our amygdala, which functions as the seat of both anxiety and aggression. Fortunately, neither our amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. When we cooperate with our autonomic nervous system, which is a fancy word for our spinal cord and its wiring, we wind up calming the anxiety and aggression of our amygdala and gently stimulating our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy. So how does this work? How do we cooperate with our autonomic nervous system? We evolved in such a way that every time we inhale, we automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, known as the sympathetic aspect. And it has evolved to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal. So this is important. Many people insist that we're not supposed to focus on anything or just one thing. And yet the passage we recited a few moments ago, it said that when we notice anything in any direction, it works out for the best. So we evolved to safely notice all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. So make sure everything's working. Okay. A subset of this would be mind's antics of mind's ability to see, hear, feel, taste, smell, and the like, including our faculties that allow us to emote, intend, reason, recall, and imagine. Well, that's nice, but what are we to do with those things? Every time we exhale, we are wired to automatically access the end bits of our spinal cord, known as the parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining. Now, we evolved to think symbolically. Therefore, all humans everywhere are wired to communicate with figures of speech. As we relax into our exhalation, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. What's a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look dazzling to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. Now one last bit. It's always good. One of my teachers used to insist that it's always good to have a hook to hang our hat on. And here's how this works. What's the key to mindfulness? What's the key to noticing mind's antics? And doing so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleeting? All we gotta do is silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel our diaphragm pull in and down as we inhale. And the key to meditation, the key to us relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature, is simply for us to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel our diaphragm relax and return to its upright position as we gently exhale. It's just that simple. Remember, we can either be controlling or laid back. When we're controlling, we're anxious and cranky. When we are laid back, our lives are defined by being content, compassionate, and cooperative. Now, let's return to the opening text and see if this technical stuff sheds some light. Going to tap button 14. In the field of understanding lays great bliss. As the pure dimension of the world, a synonym for Hatha Yoga, a synonym for mindfulness and meditation, a synonym for Treksho or Dzogchen, is pure awareness. That purity is pure in this context is a metaphor of our experience of what happens as we relax during our exhalation. So we don't have to limit ourselves to only perceiving a little bit or only perceiving dualistically. We can be vulnerable to the vast expanse of all that can be perceived, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And by noticing it and relaxing, anything can fuel our bliss. An hour ago, I was having flashbacks to some cruelties I endured way back in the 80s, yes, when the crust of the earth was still cooling. And so rather than fight it or ignored it, I sat in meditation, maybe 90 seconds, and was just completely vulnerable as I breathed in and relaxed as I breathed out, and I was able to make peace. And I do not say this to boast. I say this to say that the late former head of Tibet's Nyingma order explained that if meditation does not help us with our emotions, then what good is it? When the light of the cardinal directions gathers, so you've heard the old saw, when a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound if there's no one there to hear it? That's kind of a silly, self-centered way of saying things only exist if I perceive them. Well, as we perceive the world around us, it can feel like light is funneling into our brain through our eyeballs, which would be a really disturbing cartoon on Comedy Central. And regardless of from whence our sensory information comes, whether it's from the main directions or the intermediate ones, whether it's from the beaten path or off the beaten path, whether it's glorious or whether it's grotesque, our very act of noticing and relaxing perfects our experience. Perfecting our experience doesn't mean changing what we noticed. It means making peace with what we perceived, emoted, intended, reasoned, recalled, or imagined. Having completed the opening lesson, now let us shift gears. It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this evening's live stream, let us play with mindfulness and meditation, reminding ourselves that mindfulness and meditation serve as the key that unlock the vault to a rich and fulfilling life. In fact, simply by training in mindfulness and meditation, which constitute the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the remaining six folds, the kindness of intention, communication, conduct, and commerce, as well as our awareness of change and the effortless effort of allowing our choices, utterances, and deeds to flow from a place not of scattered spontaneity, but centered spontaneity. All of these are unlocked effortlessly and automatically simply by practicing mindfulness and meditation. The most efficient way for us to keep track of our first collection, this evening's first collection of 144 inhalations, is for us to rest the first knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. By using the tip of our thumb to count the 3 sets of creases found on each of the fingers of our right hand, we can keep track of the next 12 inhalations. The easiest way for us to count 12 sets of 12 inhalations each is for us to use the tip of our left thumb to count the 3 sets of creases found on each of the 4 fingers of our left hand. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist or Taoist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 5 or so minutes, give or take. If you're prone to arthritis, you may wish to adjust your legs. Welcome to this evening's live stream. The easiest way for us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics is for us to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel our diaphragm pull in and down as it inhales. The easiest way for us to physically relax and mentally release is for us to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease as we feel our diaphragm relax and reset as we exhale. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist or Taoist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 5 minutes or so. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever peaceful thoughts or anxious thoughts we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if they were melting into the simplicity of just emotion. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 1/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's dawn, meditation class, and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.